This is 1 terabyte worth of footage, 16 days of pure happiness and stupidity condensed into a 10 to 20 minute film. I hope you guys enjoy because this is the perfect Japan road trip 2. This is my friend Lewis. We met during study abroad in Japan almost 2 years ago and thought, since we're back in Japan for a rendezvous, we should keep our promise and go on a road trip again.
Hey Lewis, if you're watching this, we should definitely go on a road trip again.
We only have 3 goals for this trip. 1, drive as far from Tokyo as possible. 2, visit places that both of us haven't been to yet. And 3, spend as less money as possible because we fancy, but we ain't rich. And we start off our trip at a small Airbnb in the town of Usami in Ito, Shizuoka. Lewis and I are about to check out from our Airbnb. We stayed in this tiny little town in Usami in Shizuoka Prefecture. But before we check out, we want to show you guys the Airbnb because we might have possibly found one of the most interesting Airbnbs in Japan. This is actually a private onsen. Lewis is currently in there taking a shower, so I couldn't really go in there or else this video will definitely be demonetized. Funny thing is, when I was casually filming, the owners came out and saw me in my natural state, filming and being awkward as fuck, and they decided to invite me and Lewis for a spot of welcome coffee and roasted marshmallows for breakfast in their shop next door. For us, instead of traveling to big cities and tourist spots where it's very accessible to the public, we like to do the opposite and wander into the more countryside of Japan. And more often than not, we will stumble across gems like this.
Bye bye!
Bye bye! Arigatou gozaimashita! Well, that left a good impression on them, probably. And that's when we feel like we're traveling and exploring the authentic taste that the country has to offer. So, on a scale from 1 to 10?
Well, maybe 8. Pretty impressive, yeah.
Pretty impressive, pretty impressive.
I just wonder if in the summer, like, many people go here swimming. Probably not.
There are people down there already. You still want to make the walk down?
Kind of not.
Okay.
Okay, we just go home, yeah?
Again, our goal is to travel as far from Tokyo as possible. But after driving for 7 hours straight on non-toll roads, we want to save a little bit of money. We realized that we were ambitious, but very rubbish. We did a quick pit stop, did the quickest Google search for an Airbnb, and decided to give in for the night. To be honest, I wasn't thinking of filming every single day because it gets a little bit tiring. You know those walking back and forth shots that you guys like to see? Like, they get a little bit annoying after like 80 or 90 shots, and you have to do that every single day for 2 weeks. But it's good exercise though. It's good exercise. I mean, I want to be in the moment as well and live life every now and then without having to worry about, damn it, it's not in focus. Or, hey Lewis, can you drive like 50 miles down the road so I can get the shot? Yeah, just 50 miles, no more than that. But for this trip, Lewis encouraged me to film every day just for the vibes and memories because it's not often that we get to do crazy shit like this. He has a point. So I did, easily convinced. I borrowed this pocket camera from my friend and the footages that it yields from this tiny little package is phenomenal. And it's so unintrusive to film on that I absolutely loved using it. Also, I understand that it's not nice to shove this big camera setup into people's faces, especially when you're in public, because being a, I don't want to say the word, but being a YouTuber or a content creator doesn't really mean anything if you don't respect the people around you. Not everyone wants to be on camera, and if you're filming or taking a photo, you have to understand that. And also, I still get shy filming in public. Something else that I've been using every single day is Surfshark VPN, who is the sponsor of today's video. I've been using Surfshark for the past year, even before they reached out, and it's the cheapest subscription service that I've ever used, coming in with less than $3 per month. For me, I have to access blocked sites and apps that are restricted to specific regions, like AI websites. That helps me out with my work creatively. And Surfshark allows me to bypass these restrictions by allowing me to connecting to a server anywhere around the world. Also, Lewis and I have been traveling from place to place. We have to constantly access different Wi-Fi networks. And having Surfshark VPN on gives us a constant peace of mind in case of someone snooping or in case of a data breach. Using a VPN is like wearing pants, you know, keeps all the important part private and secure. I highly recommend giving Surfshark a go if you're looking to use a VPN, and if you hit the link in the description and use my code KEO, not only are you getting that sub $3 a month price, you also get 3 months for free on top of that. And it's fully refundable for 30 days if you don't like it.
About like, I don't know.
Another cheap and cheerful thing that we did was we tried to look for the cheapest places to stay at, and we realized that the further you go, or the more remote places that you go to, the cheaper the accommodations are. And I mean that they do get very, very cheap. It's not a big brain moment, but it's a very cheap and cheerful moment. Lewis was responsible for the Airbnb / accommodation department of our road trip. I was not free riding, I was documenting. For the first few days, every single day, we drove for 8 hours straight and 1 hour game. We finally arrived at Shikoku, which is the smallest of the 4 main islands in Japan. And for this particular Airbnb, we paid a whopping $200 for 4 nights for an entire house.
I'm wrong, thinking that we are moving backwards. We used to be close, now I'm done.
Lewis and I spent 4 days chilling on the island of Shikoku, and to our surprise, it began to snow, and the roads are, well, getting a little bit rough for the car.
Even my family like super careful.
No, yeah, I don't think it's the best idea for our car because it's rear-wheel drive and on summer tires. Good driver, but fuck weather. After that, we decided to spend most of our time at our Airbnb just talking about life. We like to call ourselves professional life thinkers because just recently I always think that I'm in this weird phase in my life where most of my friends are either still studying, doing masters, or they have a full-time job. And I'm neither of those things. Which probably means that I'm a disappointment. So it was really nice to talk about these things with Lewis, especially when both of us share the same mindset when it comes to life in general and where we want to be in the future. Just something that I want to share, but it was very mentally relieving on my end.
Can't you see how I try? I wish that I could tell what it feels like. Sometimes it seems clear, but you always disappear. I wish that I could tell what it feels like. But when you called, I
feel like no Japan trip is complete without what we like to call shrine hopping. Basically, shrine hopping is when we visit different shrines, when we visit different prefectures, because we think shrines in Japan are one of the coolest places to go to. And it feels like you can visit isekai at any moment.
wait till you take me home. Don't be afraid, you won't be alone. I'll be here to stay when it all comes down. Just say you'll never let this go.
After 14 days of straight filming, I began to lose track of why I wanted to film in the first place, because Japan has been too damn inspiring, and the more inspirations and ideas I get, sometimes it gets a little bit overwhelming, and it's hard to take in and absorb everything at once whilst thinking about what I want to film. Hey Lewis, can you drive back like 50 miles so I can get the shot again? Because I think no matter how many shots, how many videos that you take, there are things that can't be captured with a camera, like the smell, the breeze, and the feelings. The photos and the videos that I take will most likely be stored on my computer or on a hard drive, and I'll delete most of them after I edit them and store just the few from the hundreds and thousands that I took from that day, because I wanted to remember everything and I get to decide what memories I want to keep. And mainly because no storage space. If you want to watch the unedited version of our road trip, I've posted them on a second channel, also link in the description, because I think they are worth it for me to look back on from time to time. Like, I really hope by rewatching these few photos and videos, it will serve as a gateway to that memory, whatever it might be. And hopefully it will leave a wonderful spark somewhere here and I can relive and remember every single thing that I experienced that day. I always think that there is more to traveling than what we see on Instagram these days, like visiting the most popular tourist spots, taking a picture, posting on Instagram, and then leave. Because to me, it's always the unforeseen things, like meeting the locals, chatting with the nicest grandma at the most random bakery at a small seaside town, and potentially meeting Mr. and asking him if I can take a picture of his limited edition Mercedes. Now that was an experience. I have to blur out the number plates as requested, but we good, we chill. My kidney is still here. Traveling to Japan means so much more to me now. It's not even about the photos that I get to take or the videos that I get to film anymore. It's about the journey that I get to take and the people that I get to meet along the way that makes traveling so much worthwhile. I've been able to travel almost all around in Japan and get experiences that majority of tourists won't get, partially because of this camera right here. I was able to meet Lewis during study abroad in Japan and meet one of the coolest car rental owner, James, through YouTube, and has now flourished into a connection, a friendship that I could have never imagined. As we wrap up our 2-week road trip, we spent the final day going back to James's place and thanking him so much for taking care of me and Lewis during our stay here in Japan. James also yoinked my camera and talked for 18 minutes while me and Lewis are messing around with his card. 我真係有睇晒先，但係有少少長，我真係擺唔落呢條片度。我仲要做翻譯，我遲啲會擺嘅啦。Like, he is so XD. Like, look at him. Like, how can you not like his smile? Throughout these 2 weeks in Japan, I realized that the experience of wherever you go is completely sculpted and surrounded by the people that you're with. Rewatching almost a terabyte worth of footage as if I'm reliving every single moment of the road trip, I am forever grateful for the most amazing people that I get to meet along the way, whilst doing it with one of my best friends. That, I think, is the essence and the meaning of traveling. So one final question. Lewis, do you want to go on a road trip again?
Every time that my mind slips, I just see my past life. Having dreams in a dream, I wonder why I carried on with the things that made you lose your mind. There's no way I can undo what I've done. Can we be strangers again? Start fresh like a morning. What's so bad about that? So why won't you follow? Why won't you follow me home? I know I can't make you mine. Yes, I ran out of time. There's no hope for me. I fell down the bottom, so I fell down way deep. But if I can't have the real you, then let me make a 3D print.